in time. Like that, it will be taken into consideration, and also your performance based on the lab internals can be evaluated for 25 marks. And the external examination is for 50 marks. So after finishing the semester, you have external examination. An examiner from outside college, and which is our affiliate college, he will examine you. And one experiment is given to you. You have to write the write-up part like aim, apparatus, everything. Then Viva will be asked by the external examiner, and you have to do the experiment. And basing on that, the paper will be evaluated, and it is for 50 marks. So final result is the total of 50 plus 25. 25 for internal assessment and 50 for external examination. A total of 50% of marks you should get. That means 50 plus 25, 75. You should get 38 marks. Then only you are declared as passed. So 50%, whereas in theory it is 40%. But in the lab, any lab, you should get 50% of the total marks, a minimum. Then only you will be declared as a pass. So this is the examination pattern. And once an experiment is allotted to you, in offline mode, the lab manual will be provided to each and every student. Already you have paid some amount for that. So in that, what experiment actually you have to perform in that, in the write-up part is there, aim, apparatus, what is the procedure, what you are going to calculate, and what is how to plot a graph, and the calculation part, everything will be explained by the teacher. Then two students of each group will be given one set of the equipment. The students both should perform the experiment. They should take the readings and some complete the calculations. Record part is there. To draw, sorry, graph part is there. You have to draw the graph and get it corrected by the teacher. So once it is within the lab itself. So once it is corrected by the teacher, immediately the next week you should submit the record. So the same experiment, you have to write it in a separate record neatly with the graphs, calculations, everything. Then it can be submitted. Then the teacher will evaluate the record, and for that experiment, 5 marks will be given. So this is the procedure. And after the completion of the cycle, 4 experiments you have finished, how many marks you are getting? Because for regular submission, everything is perfect. You will be getting 5 out of 5. Like that, after the end of the semester, for 8 experiments, it is evaluated, and the record part, 5 marks is allotted for record, 15 marks for Viva OC, and 30 marks for your performance, your writer part, how you have done the experiment. Basing on that, 30 marks will be given. Like that, a continuous evaluation assessment process can be carried out throughout the semester, and the student should be evaluated by this pattern only according to Usman University. So this is the procedure through when you came offline. Physically, once you come to the lab. But in online, what we'll see is we'll see the regularity, how you are attending. And here we'll try to perform the experiment, what actually you are going to calculate, everything in the PPT will present, and aim of the experiment, what actually you have to do. And then you have to perform the experiment online, which is called as a simulation. How I'll explain later. Then you have to take the readings online only on the system or mobile Android version. You can take the readings, and how to do the calculations I'll explain. You have to do the calculations and submit the calculations, graph, everything, and final result to me. Then we'll evaluate, and based on that, we'll give marks for you. So in the today's session, I'll tell what are the experiments you are going to do in this first cycle, and what is the first experiment you are doing, and that also how to proceed for the experiment I'll explain. Then you have to do the experiment, and you have to complete the calculations. Then finally you should submit. These instructions I'll give later. First, all of you note down the list of experiments you have to do in this semester. So ready with a book and a pen. You write experiments in physics first semester, and note down the experiments. I'll check once randomly. Those all should write, because lab you should be very attentive. It can be monitored at each and every level. So the first experiment is forbidden energy gap, FEG, energy gap of a semiconductor. Right now, the first experiment, energy gap of a semiconductor. Second experiment, PN junction diode. Second experiment is PN junction diode. Third experiment, thermistor. THERMISTOR, thermistor. Next one, BH curve. Capital B hyphen capital H curve. Next one is BH curve. Next experiment, dielectric constant. Next one is dielectric constant. Next experiment, solar cell. Next one is solar cell. This is sixth experiment. Then seventh experiment, optical fiber. Seventh experiment is optical fiber. And eighth one is semiconductor laser. Next one is semiconductor laser. So these are the 8 experiments.
Semiconductor?
Semiconductor laser, LASER, laser. Anyone can repeat? 97? Roll number 97, just repeat the 8 experiments. Is he there? 97? Naveen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, read out the experiments.
Sir, I wrote only three experiments.
What were you doing?
Just to join.
Anyone?
Sir, can I roll number 99?
Yeah. Arun.
First experiment, energy gap of semiconductor.
Good.
Second, PN junction diode. Third, thermistor.
Okay.
Fourth, BH curve.
Hmm.
Fifth, dielectric constant.
Hmm.
Sixth, solar cell.
Hmm.
7, optical fiber. 8, semiconductor laser.
Very good. So those who have missed, once again you write down. First one is energy gap of semiconductor, then PN junction diode, then third one is thermistor, fourth one BH curve, fifth one dielectric constant, sixth one solar cell, seventh one optical fiber, and eighth one semiconductor laser. Maybe order may change.
Sir, can you tell the second one?
Second one is PN junction diode. First one is energy gap of a semiconductor. Second one PN junction diode.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Third one thermistor. Fourth one BH curve. Next experiment 97. Mute it. Mute. 97. Next experiment dielectric constant. Sixth one solar cell. Seventh one optical fiber. And eighth one semiconductor laser. So these are the 8 experiments you have to do. So the first experiment we are going to do is energy gap of a semiconductor. Please note down all of you. Energy gap of a semiconductor. Is it visible, the first slide? Anybody respond, please?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Physics laboratory experiments. It's not visible?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
I'll check. Don't worry.
No, sir.
Sir, your screen was visible, sir. Just shift to the PDF or PPT.
Yeah, that's what I am doing. Now,
Yes, sir.
it is visible now?
Sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is physics lab experiments, what I have explained just now. The first experiment is, note down, forbidden energy gap of a semiconductor. This experiment you have to perform. This I have explained already in the theory. So matter is composed of solids. Universe is composed of matter and energy. Again, matter is classified into solids and fluids. Again, solids are classified into crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Again, crystalline solids are classified into conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. This is only for understanding sake. So solids, the branch of physics that deals with the physical properties of solids is called as solid state physics. Again, solids are classified into crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Again, crystalline materials, they are classified into metals or conductors, first category. Second one, semiconductors. And third one, insulators. Just you take the screenshot of this one. Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, the classification, as I said just now, the crystalline materials are classified into metals or conductors, then semiconducting materials and insulating materials. So they can be classified like this, used basing on band theory of solids. And you have two concepts. One is valence band, another one is conduction band. Because the classical free electron theory failed to explain why some materials are good conductors of electric current, like copper, gold, they are good conductors. And some are insulators, glass, sand, all these polymers, plastics, they are insulators. And some are semiconducting materials, germanium, silicon, all these are semiconducting materials. Even though these insulating materials are having plenty of electrons, why they are not conducting electric current. So it is not explained on the basis of free electron theory. This will be in detail in the theory class, but because this is the lab, only whatever is required, I am explaining that. So band theory of solid positively explained the classification of solids as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators in terms of energy band gap. So you know that in a given material, in a given crystalline material, millions of atoms are there, and the number of atoms, the electrons are arranged by using Pauli's exclusion principle. No two electrons in any atom shall have all the four quantum number values set. So by following this rule, electron arrangement is there in a given atom. So 1s2, you have orbitals 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 like that. By following integer rules, electrons can be occupied in different energy states. So according to band theory, the band formed by series of energy levels consisting of all valence electrons is called as valence band. So you know the orbitals which are very close to the nucleus, the electrons are attracted very strongly by the positive forces of the nucleus. But as the atomic radius increases, the electrons which are there in the outermost orbit, they are loosely bounded with the nucleus. So these electrons are called as valence band. So the band formed by series of energy levels consisting of all valence electrons is called as valence band. Number of valence electrons are available. And sometimes what happens is, due to thermal effects, thermal energy, some of the electrons, they can be liberated from the atom. They won't belong to that atom particularly, and they move freely in the boundaries of the given material. Like you can find millions of electrons. These electrons are called as conduction electrons. So they constitute a band which is called as conduction band. So the band formed by the series of energy levels consisting of all conduction electrons is called as conduction band. That means to be as a part of conduction band, the electron requires certain extra energy. Generally, it is supplied by the lattice of the crystal or thermal effect, so that the electron can be liberated from the atom. They move freely, which are called as conduction electrons. So the band formed by series of energy levels consisting of all conduction electrons is called as conduction band. And the separation between the valence band and the conduction band, this is called as forbidden energy gap or energy gap of a given material. So this is the fundamental concept. In this way, you can define valence band, conduction band, and energy gap. Once again, I'll explain. In a given atom, number of electrons are arranged in different orbitals obeying Pauli's exclusion principle. The inner electrons are strongly bonded with the nucleus, whereas the outermost electrons are very loosely bonded with the nucleus. These electrons are called as valence electrons. Like for each atom, you can find 4 to 5 different electrons based on the atomic number. So in a given crystalline material, you can observe number of millions of electrons which are loosely bonded with the nucleus atom. These electrons are called as valence electrons. They constitute a band, which is called as valence band. So the band formed by series of energy levels consisting of all valence electrons is called as valence band. Similarly, some electrons due to thermal effects, they can liberate freely from the atom even in the absence of external field. They move freely in the boundaries of the given crystal. They contribute for the electric current for the given material, and these electrons are called as conduction electrons. The band formed by the series of energy levels consisting of all conduction electrons is called as conduction band. And the separation between this valence band and conduction band, this is called as forbidden energy gap. And remember, this forbidden gap, it is not the distance. It is the energy which stops the electron to move from valence band to conduction band. That's why the units of energy gap is expressed in terms of, can anyone say the units for energy gap? Anybody have idea? What are the units for energy gap?
Electron volt.
Electron volts, it is there in the slide itself. Very good. Okay. So it is the energy, so that the electrons cannot overcome that energy to move to the conduction band. So basing on the values of energy gap, the classification of solids can be done as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. If you take the example of insulator, you can see in the slide. Is the slide is visible? Is the slide is visible? Anyone?
No, sir.
Slide is not visible.
First slide is visible, sir.
This one, empty band, conduction band, insulator, it is not,
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
It is visible, na? Okay. So if you take the example of insulators, you can see the down diagram. This is PDF, that's why. So in this diagram, you can see for insulator, the energy gap between valence band and conduction band is very, very high, which is approximately 9 electron volts. So energy band, in general, it is termed as, it is the gap between the top of the valence band to the bottom of the conduction band. Generally, it is termed like this. So if you take the example of insulators, for insulators, this gap is very, very high. So that means an electron in the insulator needs an approximate energy of 9 electron volts and above to go to conduction band. I mean to say that in these insulating materials, there are no valence electrons. Almost all are stick to the nucleus or atom only. That's why the valence electrons are not at all available, and these are called as insulating materials. And coming to the third one, they are conducting materials. Almost there is no separation between valence band and conduction band. That means how many electrons are there in the valence band, the same number is present in the conduction band and causes electric current. That means plenty of electrons are available in the conduction band, because there is no concept of valence band and conduction band. Almost you can say that the energy gap is zero. So all electrons are conduction electrons and contribute for the electric current. These materials are called as conducting materials. In between, another type is there, which is semiconducting materials. So semiconducting materials are the materials for which the energy gap lies between conductors and insulators. So generally, according to the definition, materials which are having energy gap approximately 1 electron volt can be called as semiconducting materials. So at 0 Kelvin, they are insulators only, because all electrons stick to the valence band. As the temperature rises above 0 Kelvin, some electrons will go to the conduction band, contributing for electric current. So they are behaving as conducting materials. So these type, that means materials which are having their energy levels between insulators and conductors, this is called as, these materials are called as semiconducting materials. Germanium, silicon, all these light emitting diode type materials, they belong to this category. The approximate energy gap of semiconducting material is around 1 electron volt. For conductor, it is 0. For insulators, it is very high, which is of the order of 9 electron volts. So in this experiment, actually you should calculate the energy gap of a given semiconductor by performing the experiment. So this is the basis of the experiment. What actually is semiconductor? What is energy gap? I try to explain this. Is it clear? Shall I explain once? Anyone? Just to take the screenshot of this one, because we should do the experiment also.
Sir, once explain conduction band, sir.
So for conduction band, what actually there is, it's a virtual valence band only for conductors, because in conducting materials or the materials, because of the structure of the atom and also due to thermal effects, all electrons are liberated from the material atom. So that means electrons freely move around the boundaries of the given material, in the surface of the material. That means flowing of charge carriers in one direction is contribution of current. So actually there is no valence band. How many electrons are available in the valence band? The same is present in the conduction band for conductors. That's why it is shaded like this. There is no gap between valence band and conduction band. That's why the energy gap is 0 for conductors. But here separation is there in case of insulators. That means electrons cannot move over from the energy gap to conduct electric current. All electrons are confined to the atom only. These are insulating materials. Between you have semiconducting materials. Slightly they are connected with the atom nucleus. Even you give small energy, electric potential or temperature, then I'll explain this later. The electrons will jump from valence band to conduction band. So in this way, materials basing on energy gaps classified as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. Just to please take the screenshot of this and proceed further. So here the definition is given. A semiconductor is a material which energy gap between lies between valence band and conduction band is small. The energy gap is around, in general, it is 0.2 electron volts to 2.5 electron volts. So if you take silicon, it has an energy gap of 1.1 electron volts, and if you take germanium, it is 0.67 or 0.78 electrons. And you remember, at 0 Kelvin, a semiconductor is a perfect insulator, and about 0 Kelvin, it may behave as a conducting material. And this, in detail, this theory, I'll skip all these slides because we'll study in semiconducting materials. In the second unit, we'll read this band theory of solids and semiconductors. I'll explain in detail all these details. If you want to take the screenshot. Now I am proceeding for the experiment. I skip all these basic concepts of intrinsic semiconductors, extrinsic. I assume you know everything. We'll go to PN junction also. I'll explain once. We'll do that experiment. We'll go to PN junction. So all of you write this one, experiment. Aim of the experiment. Write down. To determine the forbidden energy gap of a semiconductor. Given semiconductor, better you write. This you have to calculate. The aim of today's experiment is to determine the forbidden energy gap of the semiconductor. This also you should upload what you have written on the paper.
Sir, ये separate book or physics classwork backside?
Yes, you can. Backside physics classwork, backside you can write. Aim of the experiment to determine the forbidden energy gap of the semiconductor. And also apparatus you write. Note down. The slide is visible now. Students?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, it is visible.
Yes.
Sir.
Right apparatus also.
Yes, sir.
Forbidden energy gap pit. This you don't take a screenshot because this is an experiment. It will be recorded for that. Germanium or silicon diode, thermometer, transformer oil, copper vessel, ammeter, microammeter, heater, and backlight emitter. Shall I proceed? So small theory, you should listen here. The forbidden energy gap, you have aim of the experiment is you should calculate the forbidden energy gap of a semiconductor. And the energy gap of a semiconductor, it depends on two factors. The first one is absolute temperature, and second one applied voltage. So two factors influence the energy gap of a semiconductor. So as I said, at 0 Kelvin, all electrons in the semiconducting material, they are in the valence band. No single electron will be moving from valence band to conduction band. Let us assume all electrons are in the valence band. Now, when I raise the temperature of a semiconducting material, when the temperature of a semiconducting material increases, then what happens? The electrons in the valence band, they acquire the thermal energy and their kinetic energy increases, they get some additional momentum so that these electrons are in a position to overcome the energy gap so that they move from valence band to conduction band. So the point I want to mention here is as the temperature of a semiconductor increases, then the electrons in the valence band, they move from valence band to conduction band and energy gap decreases. As the temperature increases, the energy gap decreases. So temperature influences the energy gap of a given semiconductor. Similarly, it depends on the applied voltage. So whenever a semiconducting material is subjected to external voltage, then when some voltage is applied to the given semiconductor, again the electrons in the valence band, they acquire a velocity which is called as a drift velocity. Again, they jump from valence band to conduction band. The momentum of electrons from valence band to conduction band starts as you apply certain external voltage. So in this case also, as the voltage increases, the energy gap decreases. So two factors influence the energy gap of a given semiconductor. One is the applied voltage and second one is the temperature. So to find out the energy gap of a given semiconductor, one basic relation is given, which is the reverse saturation current, which is given by Is is equal to Bt cube e power minus Eg by Nkt. Equation 1 you can observe. So it's an indirect method. Actually, to find out the energy gap, you have to change either temperature or voltage. Both you can't change because one to be fixed. Both these two factors changes the value of the energy gap. So in this experiment, we are fixing the voltage. So voltage is fixed and we have to change the temperature and you should find out the energy gap of a given semiconductor. But practically, there is no instrument which measures the energy gap straight away. So this is an indirect method. What we are going to do here is, for different temperatures, we are finding the current, which is a reverse saturated current. If the diode is fixed in the forward bias mode, if the positive of the diode is connected to the positive terminal, negative is connected to the negative terminal, this is called as forward bias arrangement. If positive of the terminal is connected to the negative of the diode, if negative is connected to the positive, then it is called as reverse bias. So this entire circuit is operated in the reverse bias. In the reverse bias, what happens is, because all holes attracted towards the negative plate, electrons attracted towards the positive plate, the width of the junction diode, I'll explain this diode in detail in the second experiment. So the width of the layer is very high, so mobility is very, very low. So even you apply high voltage, you will be getting very small current, small momentum of electrons and holes in the respective sites is possible. That current is called as reverse saturated current. So from the semiconducting laws, the reverse saturated current is represented by equation 1, which is 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 equal to Bt cube e to the power of minus Eg by nkt. Here in this expression, Is is the reverse saturated current, B is a constant, T is the absolute temperature, Eg is the energy gap of a semiconductor, and K is the Boltzmann constant, and N is the number, it is a ideality factor actually, this N is equal to. So equation 1 you can observe, instead of calculating straight away energy gap, because there is no instrument to measure the energy gap for different temperatures, we have to take current values. Then using equation 1, you can find out the energy gap. The derivation part is not required as the lab is concerned. And at the bottom, you can find equation 3. By simplifying equation 1, finally you can obtain the energy gap is equal to 3.97 into slope into 10 to the power of minus 4 electron volts. Now you have to note down equation 1. The derivation part is not required. If you want, you can take the screenshot, take equation 1, and by solving what formula you are using for this experiment, it is represented in equation 3, which is Eg is equal to 3.97 into slope into 10 to the power of minus 4 electron volts. Note down these two equations immediately, equation 1 and equation 3. Then I will explain once again what I have explained. You should listen carefully. Just to note down. Did you copy? Any student, please respond. Anyone? You are there in the class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you copy?
No, sir. 5 minutes.
Okay. Shall I wait? No need to take the entire derivation. Only you note down equation 1 and equation 3. That if you want, you can take the screenshot. While copying, just listen once again. So the energy gap of a semiconductor, it depends on two factors. One is temperature and the other one is voltage. So as the temperature rises, the electrons in the valence band, they jump from valence band to conduction band because of thermal energy. So energy gap decreases. In a similar fashion, as you apply certain external voltage to the semiconductor, again the electrons in the valence band acquire a velocity which is called as drift velocity. Again, they jump from valence band to conduction band. So two factors, temperature and voltage, influences the energy gap. So we can't change both. So in this experiment, what we are doing is we are fixing the voltage and we have to change the temperature and note down the current values. So this is the fundamental aspect of this experiment. Fix the voltage, change the current, change the temperature, and note down the energy gap. But the practical problem is, even you can change the temperature, but you cannot measure energy gap because there is no instrument to measure energy gap directly. So there is a relation. The energy gap is expressed in terms of temperature and reverse saturated current by equation 1. Is is equal to Btq e to the power of minus Eg by nkt. So for different temperatures, actually in this experiment, you have to measure the current corresponding reverse saturated current. Then using equation 1, by simplifying that, you can obtain equation 3. From the equation 3, you can calculate energy gap directly. Energy gap is equal to 3.97 into slope into 10 to the power of minus 4 electron volts. By plotting the graph, you can find the slope. What you should take along x-axis and y-axis, I'll explain. If you know the slope, then using this relation, you can calculate the energy gap of a given semiconductor. So this we are going to do in this experiment. I am proceeding further. So this is the circuit diagram. All of you please draw this circuit. This circuit we are going to do in this experiment. You have the components. Please note down the circuit: battery, ammeter, thermometer, copper vessel, a diode, and oil, which is the diode is immersed in an oil. I'll give 2 minutes. Please do this. Is it over?
Yes, sir.
Somebody show me this. Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Who can? Not 99. Anyone? 92. Roll number 92.
Yes, sir.
Can you show? Did you draw circuit? Very good. Good. We'll proceed further. So this is the circuit, and the connections, if you want, you write it nowhere. Anyway, I'll explain later, but this diagram will help you. So in the circuit, first the battery, in all electric circuits, generally red indicates positive terminal, black indicates negative terminal. So it is a reverse bias arrangement. If you want to write roughly, the positive of the battery is connected to positive of the emitter, you can see, and the negative of the emitter is connected to negative of the diode. So initially a beaker is there. In this beaker, some oil is taken. In this oil, a diode is immersed. Why you can't, without oil, without any medium, you cannot directly, can't keep diode straight away on the heater. It will melt. So a medium is required. Generally, oil is preferred. You cannot take water. Water evaporates, and it is not having it is conducting material. So oil, it is having uniform expansion, and it varies the temperature of 100 and 120 degrees centigrade. So initially, a container, in this some oil is taken. The diode for which you want to find out energy gap is immersed in the given diode. And a battery circuit, basic energy gap kit is there. I'll show that kit also. So the circuit should be, the positive of the batteries should be connected to positive of emitter, and the negative of the emitter is connected to negative of the diode, and the negative of the positive of the diode is connected to negative of the battery. Only this circuit connection you have to do. Even in the exam also, without seeing, you should know the circuit, and you should connect like this. The battery positive with the connecting wires, positive of the battery should be connected to positive of the emitter, and negative of the battery should be connected to, sorry, negative of the emitter should be connected to negative of the diode, and the positive of the diode should be connected to negative of the battery. This is the circuit. After connecting the circuit, this is actually the basic energy gap semiconductor kit. We took the snap of that. So at the center you can observe a black circle. In that actually you have to, a small hole is provided, a copper container is there because copper is a good conductor of heat. In that a diode is placed, and you can keep the thermometer, and circuit contacts are there. Here you can find the heater also, because at different temperature you should find out the energy gap. So actually the basic procedure is for different temperature you should find out the current. So an ammeter is also there, and we are varying temperature and finding energy gap. So voltage should be fixed. So a constant voltage source 1.5 volts is there. This is nothing but battery. So as I said, the positive of the battery should be connected to positive of the ammeter, and the negative of the ammeter should be connected to negative of the diode, and the diode is there here, placed here, and the positive of the diode is connected to negative of the battery. So this you have to connect the circuit. After connecting the circuit, then you have to do the experiment. So what you have to do initially, you have to heat the oil. So heat the oil, the temperature rises, and when the temperature reaches to 90 or 95 degrees centigrade, you switch off the heater. So once you switch off the heater, it comes down, and when the temperature is exact at 95, then you should note down the reading in the microammeter. As I said, energy gap depends on the temperature. As the temperature changes, then energy gap changes. As energy gap changes, the current value changes, because they are related in the equation 1. Is equal to, you have an equation Vt q to the power of minus Eg by nkt. So at 95, what is the energy gap? Accordingly, the emitter will show some value. Note down the value. Again, you wait for some time, because you should take all the values while cooling. So the temperature comes to 90. So as the temperature changes, again energy gap changes. Then current value will be changing. Note down the current value. Like that, for 8 different temperatures while cooling, starting from 95 in general, 95, 90, 85, 80, 75, like that, with a difference of 5 degrees, you note down the corresponding current values. This you have to do in the lab. So once again, I'll explain. Initially, in this kit, a copper container is fixed. In this, the given diode is placed. A thermometer is placed to measure the temperature. An ammeter and a heater and constant voltage sources are there. Before proceeding for the experiment, you should connect the circuit. So the positive of the battery, that is 1.5 volts voltage source, should be connected to positive of the ammeter. Negative of the ammeter should be connected to positive of the negative of the diode, and the positive of the diode should be connected to negative of the battery. So after completing the circuit, by using the heater, it is an inbuilt heater. You have to heat the oil, and because the diode is there in the oil also will be, the diode is also telling the temperature will be raised. And once the temperature rises to around 95 or 96 or 97, stop heating. And when the temperature settles down at 95, just you should note down the reading on the microammeter. Like that, for each decrement of 5 degrees, 95, 90, 85, 80, like that, you should measure the current values. Like for 8 different temperature values, you have to measure the current which is in microammeter by using this kit, by performing this. And after taking this, you have to enter the values in this table provided. Is it visible, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, all of you note down this table, because we have to do this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you note down this table. In the first column, you have temperature in degree centigrade. Here you should write the temperatures, 95, 90, like that. I'll explain why you are doing work on virtual lab simulation. I'll explain what actually you have to do. So the temperature can be converted into Kelvin scale. Even for simulation also, you should use the same table. So how it can be converted into Kelvin scale? By adding? Anyone?
270.
So you
270, yes.
temperature in degree centigrade, convert into Kelvin scale. Then for different temperatures, you should enter the current values, current in microamps. So these two you will be getting. For different temperatures, you can calculate current. And you should get current in microamps, and the voltage is given in volts. So you should convert this microamps into amperes. Note down that point also. 1 microampere is equal to how many amps? Micro means 10 power minus 6.
10 power.
10
So,
power minus.
what value you are getting into 10 power minus 6 is the value in amps. After taking this current, you use Ohm's law. In the fourth column, R is equal to V by I. Voltage is 1.5, I is the current. In general, I am saying voltage, you can change that also. You can calculate R value, resistance. Then you should calculate, by using your calculator, log r to the base 10. Log r to the base 10 using calculator, not natural logarithm to the base 10 you should calculate. And also you should calculate 1 by T, reciprocal of the temperature in Kelvin scale. That also you should calculate. Is this clear? First, you are changing the temperature and finding current. You convert the current into microamps. Then calculate the resistance for each and every value using Ohm's law V by I. Where voltage is 1.5 in general, otherwise then you can take 2 also. Then you can calculate log r to the base 10 using calculator. Also, you should calculate 1 by T value for each and every temperature. So this is the experimental part, completion of the table. So after taking this, then what we have to do is you should take the graph sheet. So some separate graph sheet you pick, and you have to take 1 by T along x-axis and log r to the base 10 along y-axis. And you have to mark the points. I'll explain how to plot the graph later once you perform the experiment, probably in the next class. Then you should plot a graph. Then you have to find the slope. So slope is y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. So for that straight line it is making some y-intercept. Then y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1 once you calculate. Then it gives the slope. After getting the slope, then you should use equation 3. Equation 3 is energy gap is equal to 3.97 into slope into 10 to the power of minus 4 electron volts. So in that slope, you should substitute this value, the energy gap of the given semiconductor can be calculated. Is this clear? You have any doubts? Anyone? Please tell. Is it clear up to this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
So aim of the experiment is to find out the energy gap of a given semiconductor. Apparatus required also we have observed. Then first you should connect the circuit as I said. And after connecting the circuit, you fix the voltage and you change the temperature, rise the temperature by using the heater. Then the temperature rises. We have to take the values while cooling because heating is a rapid process. Cooling is a slow process. So while cooling, when the temperature reaches to 95, at the temperature, the semiconductor is having certain energy gap, so which is reflected in the current value. You note down the current value. Then wait for some time. The temperature comes from 95 to 90. Again, as the temperature changes, energy gap will be changing. The current will be changing. Note down the current value. So for like that, for 8 sets of different readings of temperature while cooling, 95, 90, 85, 80, 75 like that, note down the corresponding current values. After taking the values, you use the table. Those current values you convert into Kelvin scale, and current value you will be getting in microamps. You convert into amperes. What value you are getting into 10 power minus 6 is in amps. Then you have to calculate the resistance using Ohm's law. V by I, voltage is the voltage what we have fixed, and I is the current what we have obtained in the experiment. You can calculate R. Then you have to calculate log R to the base 10. Those values for each and every value you should take. Then 1 by T value also you have to take. After taking these, then you should plot a graph. Taking 1 by T along x-axis, log R to the base 10 along y-axis, you can observe a straight line making some y-intercept. To find the slope of the straight line using the relation y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1, that I'll explain after you completing the experiment. Then you are substituting the formula Eg is equal to 3.97 into slope into 10 power minus 4 electron volts. You can calculate the energy gap of a given semiconductor. This actually you have to do in this experiment. Now, because it is online, you cannot do physically this experiment. The lab kit is available. So there is an alternative method. MHRD, Ministry of Human Resources and Development, they have designed certain virtual labs, and you can find these basic science experiments also. Today, all we are will be doing the experiment by using this virtual lab. So for that, first what we have to do is you should go to Google. In that you should click www.vlab.co.in. I show that. Just you see. Is this Google is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah.
So first what? Just you go through. First you should log in www.relab.co.in. Did you observe virtual labs, an initiative of Ministry of Education under the National Mission on Education? Okay, you got it? Did you observe?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In that, once I scroll to the down, you have broad areas of virtual labs. So for each and every engineering stream, they have central government has developed a certain virtual lab. In that you can find the physical sciences, isn't it? Physical sciences is there now. Could you able to observe?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So you should click this physical sciences. So if you click this physical science, so in this the number of areas developed by different IIITs, Hyderabad, Amrita Vishwavidyalaya, like that, you can find many. And at the bottom, labs under maintenance, you can find. Here you have basics of physics lab developed by IIT Kanpur. Okay. Because I am doing online, one should respond. Is it okay?
Yes,
Could you
sir.
able to see?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Physics lab, IIT Kanpur. Now you should click this basics of physics lab. Then you will be getting another window, basics of physics. In this, you should click list of experiments. In the left, you can find introduction, objective, list of experiments like that. So you should find list of, you should click list of experiments. Then what experiments they have a module developed, you can find the list. 10 experiments are there. Isn't it? Anyone respond? Could you able to see?
Yes, sir.
In this, the second experiment is
Yes, sir.
our experiment, energy gap of a semiconductor. Now you should click this energy gap of a semiconductor. After you are getting some blank aim only, here in the left you can find aim, theory, pre-test, procedure, simulation, post-test, like that. You should click this simulation. So virtually you should perform this experiment. So you have to click this simulation. You get this simulation, then energy band gap simulation title. Could you able to observe? Enable power number. Okay. So after getting this, what you have to do is you should initially click this enable power. So for whether it is human being or robo, it will test you. Among the following graphs, which graph is plotted in energy band gap experiment? It is between the current and temperature. So it is 10 Q by T and log I. So the second image actually related to energy gap of the semiconductor. So I should click this image too. Then it comes here, you choose the correct answer. Please proceed further. I should click OK. Then I should click cancel here. Then you are able to perform the experiment. Now, as I said, basic equipment you know. So first you need a container. So for that, what we have to do is first I should click place container, and in this space provided, I should click further. Then here you can able to observe a container consisting of some oil. Is it clear? Did you observe?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Okay. So this is a container. Then as I said, the diode should be immersed in the container. Now I have to click this PN diode, and here in the container I should click. So the diode is there immersed in the given container. Now, to connect the circuit, you need a constant voltage source, which is a battery. Now, I should select this battery. And battery, in the space provided, I should select. So, a battery will be appearing at the top. And also, you need an ammeter, because voltmeter we are applying any constant voltage. So, no need to keep this voltmeter. Just to take ammeter. So, you click this ammeter, and here you please ammeter is present here. And now you should connect the circuit. Now I have to, what we should do? We should place a thermometer in there, because you should measure the temperature. So you click this place thermometer, and you click here, a thermometer is present. Now you should connect the circuit. For that, what you should do is, you click connect here, which is option there in the left side, click connect. Then what actually the connection, the positive of the battery should be connected to positive of the ammeter. So this is positive of the battery, here it is written, you click here, and this is positive of the ammeter, click. So that positive of the battery is connected to positive of the ammeter. Then the negative of the ammeter should be connected to negative of the diode, which is immersed in the container. So the negative of the diode should be connected to negative of the ammeter. So it is connected. And lastly, the positive of the diode should be connected to positive of the battery. So here you click at the positive, and also here positive you click. So the positive of the battery is connected to positive of the ammeter. So this is the circuit and simulation. This is the experiment virtually you can do. Once again, I'll explain this. First, what actually you have to do, you should click to this virtuallab.co.
Sir, you
yes.
connected negative to negative of the battery.
Negative.
Which one? Through ammeter I have connected.
Diode.
See the circuit. Positive of the battery is connected to positive of the ammeter. And the negative of the ammeter should be connected to negative of the diode. Positive of the diode should be connected to negative of the battery. This is the connection. What am I doing? Once again, I show this by discarding reset for your sake. First, what we have to do is just you go through carefully. Disable power, enable power. First, you should click. Then you will be getting 4. We have to select image 2 is fit to our experiment. You click image 2. It is the correct answer. Then OK. Then you cancel this one. Then first, what we have to do is place the container. Click place container, and in the empty space you click container will be there. Then place thermometer. You click thermometer will be present. Then PN diode should be kept in oil. So connect PN diode, select, and you place it on the container. Then you need a battery. So select the battery here. You keep at the top. Then only you need an ammeter. Take an ammeter. You should connect it here. Then according to the connection, then you should click connect. The positive of the battery should be connected to positive of the ammeter. The connection is there. Then the negative of the ammeter should be connected to negative of the diode. Connection will be like this. And the positive of the diode should be connected to negative of the battery. This is the circuit connection. After connecting the circuit, once you scroll this, you find here select voltage. Did you got it? Select voltage. Could you able to observe?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In the select voltage, you
Yes,
click,
sir.
you have 5 voltages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, I will take 2. I have fixed the voltage as 2. Then you should write a click. So voltage is fixed. Selected voltage is here, it is appearing 0.2 volts. So as per the procedure, what you have to do, you have to change the temperature and note down the current value. So here temperature changer is there. It is from 0 to 100 degrees. So as I said, you fix the temperature initially at 95. So what is the temperature here fixed? The temperature of the diode is 95 here. Then in the bottom you can find get reverse saturation current. then what you have to click here? Find here. So once you click find here, you will be getting a value because already data is available. There is a current value is 45.693 milliamps. So what table I have given initially, in that what we should write initially, temperature is 95 degrees. Then the corresponding current value is 45.693 milliamps. But the value should be in amperes. So you should, in milliamps means you should convert into amperes, it is 10 power minus 3. So you can write this value as 45.693 into 10 power minus 3 amperes. This is for 95 degrees centigrade. Now you change the temperature, you fix the temperature at 90. This is very sensitive. This is 90. So now the temperature is fixed at 90. Again, you should find out the current. So again, you should click find here. Then you are getting another current value, which is 40.71 milliamps. That can be written in the chart as 40.711 into 10 power minus 3. Like that, for 8 to 9 different current values, starting from 95 degrees, 95, 90, 85, 80, 75, 70, like that, you should find out the current value. And you complete the table. Initially, temperature in centigrade, you convert into Kelvin scale. Then current values you are getting, actually it is given in microamps, here you are getting in milliamps. So take accordingly. But you need
10 to power minus 9.
10 power minus 3.
9 we should multiply into 10 to power minus
No,
9.
amperes.
Microamps, we should write in 10
milliamps. This is milliamps. Milli means 10 power minus 3. Correct. So 40.711 into 10 power minus 3. Like that, once you convert into amperes, take the current value. Then using Ohm's law, calculate voltage. Here voltage fixed is 2. So 2 by this value, you will be getting resistance for each and every set. You will be getting a lower value. Then 1 by T also you take. After converting in Kelvin scale, you complete the table. So this part you should do. Then once you complete the table, by taking a graph sheet, you have to plot the graph. After plotting the graph, you should find out the slope. Once you find the slope, by using the relation energy gap 3.97 into slope into 10 power minus 4 electron volts, you can calculate the energy gap of a given semiconductor. Any doubts in this?
No, sir.
Can you do this? Yes, you wrote down the steps how to proceed here. First, you should, in the Google, you should click www.vlab.co.in. Note down first. Shall I show once again each and every step?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, just to go through.
Yes, sir, please.
I'll here initially in the Google www.vlab.co.in. This you should select. So you will be getting many things. In this, the second one is you should select physical sciences. Again, you will be getting many labs under physics. And at the bottom, you can find labs under maintenance, basics of physics lab, exactly at the bottom, almost bottom, developed by IIT Kanpur. So this basics of physics lab, you should click. Then you will be getting another window, basics of physics. In this, you should click list of experiments. Number of experiments can be displayed. You choose energy band gap of a semiconductor, which is our experiment. Then actually this is simulation, that is virtual lab. So you should click this simulation. Then your virtual lab setup you can observe on the screen. First, what you should do is you click enable power. And for identification, you will be getting 4 images, and image 2 is our correct image, so you select image 2. Then you choose a correct answer. Please proceed further. You will be getting a message. You should click OK. Then you should cancel this. Then it is allowed. It allows us to do the experiment. So first, what we have to do is you select the place container. Container you take. Now you take place thermometer. Keep the thermometer in the container. Then select the diode. You place the diode inside the oil. Then you select battery, and also you should select an ammeter. Anyway, you can take conveniently, don't worry. Then you should connect the circuit. Further, you take connect. The first one is positive of the battery should be connected to positive of the ammeter. It is connected. Then negative of the battery ammeter should be connected to negative of the diode. Then positive of the diode should be connected to negative of the battery. This is the circuit connection. After connecting this, you have to select the voltage. So for example, you take 2 volts and click. Then selected voltage is 2 volts. Now you can change the temperature. So first we click this at 95, and for 95 degrees, what should be the reverse saturated current? You should click find here. You will be getting 45.693 milliamps. You note down in the table which you have copied earlier, and you convert milliamps into amperes. Now you set the temperature at 90, like that. And again you should click find here. Then only the value will be changing. You are getting 41.672. While cooling, like starting from 95, 95, 90, 85, 80, 75, like that, you note down the corresponding current values. So once you note down the corresponding current values, then you have to complete the table. You complete the table and show it to me. Today only perform the experiment and show me the values. You upload the values, then you have to plot the graph. Is it okay?
Sir, we can take any temperature.
I did. That
Temperature values.
I did.
Okay, sir.
Now 61 to 70, you fix the voltage as 2. I am writing here and copying here. 61 to 70, first batch, the voltage is 2 volts, and temperature you should take 5 difference, 95, 90, etc. 5 degrees difference you should take, 61 to 70. Okay. Then
Okay.
71 to 80, you take the voltage as 3 volts. 3 volts, fix the voltage as 3, and temperatures 5 degrees, 95, 90, like that. No doubt. And 81 to 90, you take voltage as 2 volts and the temperature 4 degrees difference, 4 degrees centigrade. That means 100, 96, 92, like that you should take. And 91 to 100, you take